Hi everyone and no one. Feels good to be here with you or no one. Happy time. Good time. I spent most of the day with Rupert experientially in videos. Well, I call that experientially. I do not know him in person, but I did spend a lot of time listening again to some of the understanding that he passes along to us and others, and it's so beautiful. Anyway, I'm trying to get a group together to at least try to start a little community that would be grounded in this. I don't know what other word to use except teaching. So I'm working on that. There's a lot of, well, there's not a lot. There's some in California and some in New York and Minnesota. I don't remember if that's the right place. But anyway, I guess there's a few in Atlanta, Georgia. But they're around. Some are big, with thousands, and some are not so big. And mine is nil. I haven't got one yet, but anyway, it's just a loving thought to think about bringing people together with that foundation. So I'm looking forward to that. And I wanted to, the last video I think was on resistance, and I don't know, I used a thought that during the video I was talking about thoughts in the big mind, and thoughts are just going by and they're just there and they're just out there, and there's all possibilities. So there's thoughts of all possibilities that are in this whole. So, and I was saying that's why we were where we are, because we're picking and choosing these thoughts, plucking them out and picking them, but I don't think that's the case at all when I think about it, because I think what happens is we are drawn to a particular thought from our conditioning, or just from our conditioning and where we are in the present, how we view our perception of life. And so I think we're drawn to a thought that goes by and connects with us where we are. So that's actually how I feel it works when I think about it more. I thought about it right after the video, but of course words, you say them at the moment, and you think, oh, you're just not thinking through deeper. So when I laid there thinking about that, I was like, no, it's not like that at all. We don't choose thoughts, and we didn't choose to make this anyway. It was just conditioning. It just happened because there's all possibilities, and the conditionings and what we've come up with just has been what it is. So I wanted to say that. And let's see, I wrote some notes here. I was thinking about love a lot lately, and just identifying with, like, if you have an feeling of inadequacy, or a feeling of fear, or a feeling of being neglected, or whatever it is, if you feel something like that, and you Let it be. But when you think about, I am this or I am that, and as Rupert always says, accentuate the I am. But taking it further, though, I was thinking about my life, and I was thinking about all the different times where I felt just a change in the environment, a move or something to just change would help, because you felt like you had identified with all this stuff going on around you and this life going around you of others, and how you would put yourself in it, and or how you just ended up in it, and then you change and you end up in another. So it's all these circumstances and all these events that happen in your life, these experiences, fleeting, and you feel free of them when you move into another situation, or you move, you say, if I can just get rid of all of this, I can start again, or I can feel that completeness, that wholeness return, because you won't be in the middle of stuff. You just be back to the beginning, to your purity, and you can build it all again. But that's just what you do in your conditioning, is you build it all again. You end up in another circumstances similar, or another experience that you're drawn to that's similar to the last, and you end up feeling, or maybe you don't think about it, it's just a feeling of kind of like dreaming that you were somewhere else, I guess, and it was different. So these fleeting circumstances and experiences really wake you up to the I am, to what threads all of it together, because you yourself, the I am part of you, didn't change. It's the circumstances that keep changing and keep changing and keep changing. So what you end up with is, when you sit with it, you say, okay, I wanted all these changes at this time and that time, and I experienced this and I experienced that, and I thought this would be different, and I thought that would make my life different, and I thought this would make my life different. But in reality, it's you. It's me. The change is in our perception of how we see life as a whole. So if we see, when you see it from that point, and you see the I am, and you see all the experiences happening to you, and all the changes that occurred, and how you jumped in and made all these things happen. I mean, you were absolutely open to any changes, and they keep happening, but there's one part that didn't change, and that's you. So you've attracted these things to your life just by your conditioning and what you've identified with. So when you see the one thing that hasn't changed, that peaceful, loving part that's pure, And it is right here and always is, and always, you think you're somewhere else when you're doing all these changes, but you're actually just here. There is only here. So when you think I am here, I was always here. In all of these different changes and all of these different experiences, I was only here. So the only thing that I see is to see through all of those things and to see the purity of who you are, your identity between the thoughts, between the circumstances, between the everything. The raw space that holds it all, the ever-present purity of that space, that vibrating, that alive space that's without things, that space doesn't identify with any of this. It's just pure and simple love. It's just purity in its golden essence. And it's alive. And it expresses through us. But we don't know it. So, if we don't know it, how do we identify with it? Well, we have to know it first. We have to experience the knowing. Not the knowing of anything, but just the pure knowing that knows all. But we are the experience of that. We are what emanates from that. Oh, it's so beautiful. I love talking about it. I love thinking about it. And love is such a beautiful thing. Rupert was talking about, well, it's not a thing. Love is all the essence of all of everything and every non-thing, seen and unseen. And anyway, in listening to a lot of Rupert's stuff, he was talking about his part in his life that was contradictory, where he was doing the bowls, making the clay bowls, and the beauty and loving that beauty of a thing, and then on the other hand, loving the beauty of truth and the studying that he was done with the non-duality teachings. And I just love the expression. I mean, because he found a teacher that brought the two together for him. And so the truth, that beautiful search for truth that led him to the I amness of who he is and who we all are, and the bowls united in that with the beauty of things. It brought the two together in its pure expression, the way, listening to his love of these things and putting it the way he does, because he has a beautiful way of having us understand all of these things. And what a great foundation for life is to know that you share your being with everything and everyone, because you're threaded through that I amness without qualifying it. It's just a great thing to get all these different communities going, and with that foundation. Yeah, I think that's a great thing, and it's happening. So as we identify, or as we learn to identify with our true nature more and more and more, I mean, we'll always, the conditioning is so thick and it's so well grounded for so long. I know there's no time, but it seems thick. It's seemingly thick. And the more we identify with that true part of us in between the qualification of I am this and I am that, the more the synchronicity just seems to take over, and the happiness and the beauty just begin to appear, because you're drawing that instead of what your conditioning is drawing, that seemingly separate self drawing in all of these. I keep wanting to say the word shallow, but words are so difficult to describe. It's just, there's just so much more to expression and to us, to who we are, than what our conditioning has brought forth in our understanding, because we have focused the entirety of humanity, of just human being human, on, we've focused so much on things to an extreme. I mean, a very well, I know this separate self and where we are is seemingly separate from our true being, and that nothing is separate. This is something that just is, and this expression just is. But as this all unfolds, it's going to be like a banana, and it's going to all unpeel, and it's going to unveil the truth one way or another. It just does it through all these possibilities that exist. And us going through this is just opening up the flower. I just love participating in the opening of the flower part instead of all of the suffering. And that doesn't mean that there's no compassion, of course, for all the suffering out there, but it's, in order to do something about it, it would be to identify with the truth of our being, to bring about that love, instead of letting the things rule, and going about it that way by putting your attention more on nurturing the thing world, the 10,000 thing world, which isn't, it's not a separate thing. It's not a separate thing. it's just the truth of what you're seeing. You as an individual are threaded with truth. But if you can't see it, then you can't get to that love. You just can't. So then you end up propagating more suffering. If you stay as a separate, or as thinking, a seemingly separate thing, because you're lost in the material part, and you can't unveil the truth of your loving, beautiful self, that's that you're connected to that one big everything, everyone, everything, ever present. I don't want to say being, because then you think it's a human being. So words are so limiting. But that awareness, consciousness, whatever word, God, there's beautiful words out there that take you there, but only if you can be taken there. Because if you've seemingly covered yourself up to being this limited, separate individual that's separate from everyone else and everything else, you're an individual in its own right, which you are an individual, because your conditioning is different. So your thoughts, and you still have this uniqueness to yourself through your life. So everybody is unique and different, and that's the beauty of it, because the ever-present being, or God, or whatever, of all of all, is never-ending potential. I mean, it's everything. Everything exists in that one. People say empty, but it's alive. It's all potential. The space, this ever-present space, it's God, this consciousness, this awareness, is nothing but potentiality, and everything exists. Every possibility exists. So that allows for everything to exist. So if you're veiling and it doesn't mean that you know, this limited being that I am and you are, seemingly, if that isn't unveiled to the truth of who we are, then that love is hidden, that purity, that connection that underlies. It's a connection to all of us and everything. It's where everything comes from. It's where everything is birthed from. So we all are connected to one another with our uniqueness, and the animals, their uniqueness, and the trees, and the wind, and the stars, and the ever-present possibilities. So if we just unveil, I say just, I think it's what the only, if once we learn by going through all these different experiences that nothing is going to change. You're going to find an experience cheers you up for a while and drops you. Cheers you up for a while and drops you. Your conditioning returns. That self returns. That separate self returns, that doesn't know and has no way of knowing what it truly is unless it wants to know. So it's weird because we have to seek in order to find, and we have to stop seeking to actually find. So everything is a paradox. And Jesus was a wonderful way of expressing that everything is a paradox. And there's so many teachers that know this, and we experience their lessons, the Buddhas, and there's so many great, profound teachings that know these things. And they all teach you in different ways. And Rupert Spira has been my I think I stay open when I read different people. I stay open to what I'm reading and what I'm hearing and what they're saying. But it's not all connecting, and I don't think that they're staying open and they're sharing all of these things. And it doesn't all connect. I can't get a full understanding. When Rupert came along, after all of my searching in my life for truth, when Rupert Spira, my best friend, and I don't ever know if it's Spira or Spira. I don't know why I do that. And I listen to it and I get it, and then I don't when I'm talking on the video. Little pressure there, I guess. I don't know. But it wasn't until I heard this person, this being, that every single thing that I think in my privacy that I've held so dear in the back pocket, and not ever being able to open up any way to express it, or open up any way to find words, or it's just been a feeling of knowing that we're all connected, and knowing this love and this all possibilities exist in this ever-present stuff. Lack of words. But Rupert has spent 50 years, I don't know how many years, trying to put this understanding into words. It's it's the bowls. He's creative. He's creating with words, bowls that share with us. These words make bowls for us to understand this bowl of life. This expression is put together in the best way I've ever heard anyone do. Even, it's just without having to think about one sentence for hours and then finally get that sentence. Rupert has creatively used his art to express this understanding of our true nature in a way that I could never. I can only try, but everybody's going to do it in their own way because of their conditioning and how much time or I use the word time. There's really no time, but we just do what we do, right? It just is. Oh gosh. how does he say that? Truth and love. Truth is love and things are beauty. The truth is the I amness and beauty is the isness of life. And they're united as one. Just, it's not that they're united. That means that there's two things. There's not two things. It's just the two different perspectives of things, and it's that which emanates, stands out from, to have the experience. The inner world and the outer world, so to speak. It's all a part. It's all together. It's the expression of the same thing, love. It's wonderful. So, that's the big thing here in this particular talk. I kind of wanted to finish about the resistance and picking thoughts out of the sky. I don't know, I didn't know how to express that for the limited self. That's pretty much what you do, because you're dealing with thoughts or things, and you're just picking things out. But the truth of the matter is, we do that because our conditioning is leading the way when we're doing that. And so I think this talk, though, as far as in its entirety, is based upon or trying to bring out the identification with the space between the thoughts, with the space between the experience, with the thoughts between. It's the stuff everything's made of. And only Rupert can understand. I could spend another hour explaining how Rupert puts that together. Because a thought begins and ends. Everything begins and ends. But not who you truly are, not the I am. It's only the I am this and I am that begins and ends. The circumstances, the experiences, come and go, come and go. Feel good, then you lose that. But the stuff underneath, I don't know what other word to use, the stuff underneath, the stuff that's in the background, the stuff that's there, the stuff it's made out of, that stuff doesn't begin and end. It's ever present, all loving, purity, living, awareness, God, consciousness, whatever. And that was the main totality of this conversation, I think, that I wanted to express. So, thank you for listening or not listening, and good night.